Good morning, everyone. You're welcome to the August edition of Young Leadership Summit. Today, by the special grace of God, we have our main speaker. When I say main speaker, that is the speaker that will be speaking with us today on this platform. She's from Nigeria. She's an author, a responsible daughter of God. She has something in stock for us to learn today, and she will be telling us bravely about how she came up with her book, the challenges, the encouragement that will go a long way today for each and every one of us. And I have no doubt in me that her presence on our platform today will ignite your consciousness, to start looking inward to discover your potential. Yours may not be writing a book, yours may be developing an app, yours may be doing something on YouTube that brings in money, yours may be anything. But I want us to see a perfect example of a person, young leader like you, that have come out with a result, with a proof that she has been praying. Because when we pray, the evidence of our prayer is to have results to show to the world. She has a book that she can show to the world. And I know today you will start looking inward to build yourself, to have results to show to the world that will make God proud and your family. Invite our guest speaker for today, in person of Ogini Wetana. Wetana, it is your time. You can share your power.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you. We can hear you.
I would like to begin by appreciating the president and founder, World Leadership and Inspirational Foundation, Mr. Charles Awodun, for giving me the privilege to be part of this Young Leadership Summit. Thank you, sir. And to the entire team of Holy Foundation, I must commend you. Are really doing a great job. And to all the participants in the house, you are all welcome. My name is Gold Wetana Ogini. I will be speaking on the topic, my culture and I. So, what is culture? Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines culture as the integrated pattern of human knowledge, belief, and behavior that depends upon the capacity for learning and transmitting knowledge to succeeding generations. In simple terms, culture is commonly defined as the way of life of a particular group of people. For the purpose of this presentation, I would like to define my culture as the identity of my origin or root. And when we say my culture and I, we are talking about our relationship with our culture. That is our proximity to our culture. We are expected to be one with our culture. That means I am my culture and my culture with me. Now I would like to share the screen.
Thank you. Good job. Yeah.
The topic we'll be looking at is my culture and I, and under my culture and I will be looking at definition of terms, elements of culture, reasons people abandon their culture, and remedy for abandonment of culture, and what I call a takeaway. Now to definition of terms, culture. The first definition is from Merriam-Webster Dictionary, while the second one is just a simple way of defining culture. And why the last one, my culture is the identity of my original root. The term culture, the definition of the last one is my own definition of the term my culture. And elements of culture, we have so many elements of culture, but I grouped this into three in order to get your own attention, because I will be considering name as a reference point to my book. As I said earlier, I said there are many other elements of culture, but I just want this to be three. But only what I'll be considering today will be, I'll be only be talking about name, because I would take my book as a reference point, and my book talks about name. And people do use name as part of elements of culture. Meanwhile, names is not part of the element of culture, but only characterized under language. Another language, we have names, dialects, language of the area. Custom, we have clothing, food, greetings. And arts, we have songs, instruments, and dance. Like we saw on the shared screen, we have various elements of culture, such as name, language, clothing, food, etc. Though our focus would be on name as contained in my book, Returning to My Origin. But it is important to note that the same principles apply to other elements of culture. However, what you attest to the most in life is your name, because you respond to it multiple times each day. Now, imagine you answering a native name. Each time you call a native name, you are making a cultural statement. And each time you answer your native name, you are appropriating to yourself a cultural statement that resonates with you. It's like saying amen to a prayer or prophecy. Chris Wolf said, identity is not just who you are currently, but who you are called to be. Speaking about making a cultural statement, it is not limited to names. It cuts across all elements of culture. Are we all following?
Yes.
For instance, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, WTO, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, is a woman I admire so much. She has consistently been making cultural statements by addressing wherever she finds herself. No matter how corporate the occasion is, she would appear in her Africa print attire with her neck beat, and she would look gorgeous and corporate.
Yes.
She does this even in foreign land, but back home, our establishment and parastatals allow native attires only once a week, that is Friday.
Yeah.
I hope government of various countries still doing this would kindly look into it and do the needful, because culture is also about government and law. It's our culture. We must embrace it, we must cherish it, and we must promote and preserve it. Speaking about this same African ambassador, as I would like to call her, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, with all our education and exposure, you can't separate our identity from our accent. Our originality stands out, yet we have people of the same culture who have not left their chores, but still accent shaming one another. I believe it is high time we began to have a rethink about this, because this is making a cultural statement in a bad light. And like I said, making cultural statements cuts across all elements of culture. I also said that we are expected to be one with our culture, but surprisingly, some people still abandon their culture. Now, there are many reasons people abandon their culture, ranging from intimidation and fear to coercion and inferiority complex. But I classify them into two: one, complete ignorance; two, shallow knowledge. Interestingly, I captured both in my book. Okpeyemi's mother abandoned her native name. By the way, Okpeyemi is the lead character in my book, Returning to My Origin. Like I was saying, Okpeyemi's mother abandoned her native name because of her ignorance about the subject matter. According to her, it was because of youthful exuberance. Shannon Alder said, one of the greatest regrets in life is being what others would want you to be rather than being yourself. Okpeyemi's father, on the other hand, did not only abandon his native name but also his surname or last name because of his shallow knowledge about the subject matter. While the former was literal, the latter was a metaphor. I won't go deep into all of that because of time. The long and short of the story is that Okpeyemi's parents lost bearing with their origin. And when Okpeyemi came on the scene, she was determined to right the wrongs of her parents, and she went for relevant knowledge. Permit me to tell us a short story, a true life story. Very recently, on the 10th of July, this year to be precise, Nigeria national basketball team, the Tigers, defeated our counterpart in US in a pre-Olympic game. After the win, one of the Nigeria players, a Nigerian American, Gabe Vincent, said in an interview that he traveled home some times ago and someone asked him, "What is your name?" And he answered, "Vincent." He said the guy looked at him and asked again, "What is your name?" And he said, "Gabe Vincent." He said the guy looked at him in the face and said, "No, what is your name?" Then he said, "Nnamdi." And the guy said, "Oh, okay, nice to meet you." Then he realized that that was part of his culture. According to him, he dropped the name Vincent that he was known by in America and crested Nnamdi on his back to play for Nigeria. Nnamdi is his native name, and by so doing, he was not only being patriotic to his nation, but equally identifying with his roots and at the same time making a cultural statement. That is what we are talking about. The conversation between Nnamdi and that guy reminded me of the conversation between Okpeyemi's dad when he was young and his uncle in my book, Returning to My Origin. Anyways, congratulations to Nigeria on our victory and to Africa as a whole, because this is actually first of its kind in the continent. Now, let's look at remedy for abandonment of culture as exhibited by Okpeyemi. Go for adequate knowledge about your culture and be determined to pass the knowledge down to others. Marcus Garvey said, "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." How do we achieve this? 1. Observe. Okpeyemi observed and realized that none of her parents was answering a native name. So she asked her mother, why? Most times we learn by observation, and as we observe, when we notice anything that we don't understand, we must ask questions. This takes us to the second point: ask questions. When Okpeyemi asked her mother the question, Her mother wanted to shut her up, but Okemi insisted and spoke up. When we ask questions, we must not allow anyone to shut us up. We must speak up. This brings us to the third point: speak up. They are the speak up generation, the Sorosuke generation. For those who may not understand the term Sorosuke, Sorosuke is a Yoruba phrase that literally means speak up or speak loudly, and Yoruba is one of the major tribes in Nigeria. Back to what I was saying. Okemi spoke up and her parents had to listen to her, and that was the beginning of returning to our origin. To speak up is neither rudeness nor pride. To speak up is courage. You can be humble and be courageous. Chazawodu said, humility is strength, not weakness. So be courageous in your humility. And last but not the least, teach others. Okemi found herself in a similar situation like her mother, but instead of bowing to pressure to change or alter her name, she said to educate them. As I round up, I would like to read a few lines from my book, Returning to My Origin. Let me give a short background before I read for better understanding. Okemi visited the US and accompanied her cousin Oluwabukola to see her American friend, Vine. When Oluwabukola and Okemi got to Vine's house, and during introduction and pleasantries, Vine could not pronounce Okemi correctly, and she quickly asked for permission to alter Okemi's name to what she could easily pronounce. And Oluwabukola agreed with her immediately, but Okemi refused. Instead, she promised to teach her the pronunciation of her name until she could pronounce it correctly. Now I read. 1 week later, Oluwabukola had an appointment with her friend to study at the city center library. Okemi decided to accompany her. They went and picked Vine from her house. Hi, Vine, Oluwabukola greeted her friend. How are you, Buki? Vine asked. I am good, she replied. They embraced each other. You are quite on time today, Vine told her. Of course, I know you are time conscious, she said, so I do not want to keep you waiting. That is thoughtful of you, she replied. Okemi, meet Vine, my friend and coursemate. And Vine, meet Okemi, my cousin. She smiled and gesticulated with her right hand as she introduced the two ladies to each other. Vine and Okemi shook hands. Happy to meet you, Vine, Okemi said. Happy to meet you, Vine stammered. She could not pronounce Okemi. Okemi, Oluwabukola cut in. Yes, sorry about that, Vine apologized. Oops for short, is that okay? Yes, that is a good one, Oluwabukola quickly answered. No, Okemi said softly, shaking her head like a pendulum to the rhythm of the no. That is not okay with me, please. I am not Ops, I am Okemi. Oluwabukola turned to her cousin. We know, but names can be shortened for different reasons, she explained. Okemi remembered her mother's story. Well, that should be optional, she said. Besides, I am not in a baptismal class, so do not give me a different name. My name is Oluwabukola, but I answer Buki, she said. I have been answering Buki in Nigeria before I came to America. Listen, your name is Oluwabukola, which means God adds to wealth. Now tell me, where is God and where is wealth in Bukky? She said to her cousin. I would stop here and, like Opemi said, tell me where is God and where is wealth in Bukky instead of Oluwabukola. That is what happens when you alter your native name. They call it modification. I call it mutilation because it loses its meaning. Well, that is food for thought. Before I hand over to the chief hosts, I would like to crave everyone's indulgence. So may we kindly unmute our gadget and do this together, please.
Yes.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Good job.
You're muted.
Yeah. We unmute everyone.
Please say with me. I will embrace my culture.
I will embrace my culture.
I will cherish my culture.
I will cherish my culture.
And I will promote and preserve my culture.
I will promote
my culture.
Thank you.